is related to that in terms of co-stars, and it's addressed to you, the audience, Mr. Broderick. Did working with Jason Robards on Max Dugan teach you anything about how to develop your performances? Did you learn anything from the great
I
Jason
think
Robards?
I did, but you know, I learned just, he was just my hero. He was just what I thought being an actor, like that, and I still think that was just the most romantic, exciting thing to be Jason Robards. I loved being around him. I loved how he acted. I loved how hard he worked and how he didn't seem like he was working. He was incredibly generous with me, from sitting at the always would invite me to the table at the commissary. Always, it was my first movie, and he was endlessly making sure that I was part of the cast, you know, when other people didn't think of it. He was just like, he was perfect, and I don't know if I learned anything we ever talked too specifically about acting, but just to watch him and be around him was like was to learn.
We've come to the end of our time, but we've just got about 3 or 4 more questions from the audience. Can we go a little bit over time?
Sure, yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're all going back to my place.
The billionaire. How did your recent experience filming The Producers differ from performing it night after night on stage? You want to talk a little bit about filming The Producers?
Nathan?
Well, it's a very faithful adaptation of the show. It's you know, so it didn't change that much, and yet we were doing it on camera, and so it was strange at times because you had to let go of the audience was a huge part of that show, and you were, the rhythms of the show and the whole thing was driven by the audience in some ways, and you just had to go back to basics and what the scene was about, and yet the show has certain demands. The piece has demands that no matter whether it's on a stage or in front of a camera, it sort of demands a kind of size and energy that you can't do. You can't suddenly do the moody, introspective version of The Producers because there's a camera watching you. It demands a kind of, at least for me anyway, a kind of an operatic thing, and certainly Zero didn't shy away from that. And so anyway, it was just a matter of of modulating things, but so much of it was the same. Matthew used to say it's like doing the show about 150 times a day for a very quiet Wednesday matinee. Because it was endless takes, and you
Take
just
25.
you would just keep doing it, and but it was great. The crew, we had this wonderful crew that would do the giggle from time to time, and we had a great time. But it was yes, I mean we were very aware of it at times, and
It's had some sneak previews, I think, in New Jersey and around.
Yes.
And the word on the internet is that it's terrific. That it's
and
really great.
God knows they know.
On Yahoo.
Oh, on
Same
Yahoo.
people who say how depressed you are.
Right. The angry teens and the bitter queens love it.
Did comedic acting come naturally to you? This is obviously addressed to both of you.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
when you were growing up, was it a defense mechanism? Did you kind of like, this was, if you were able to make people
Mama,
laugh,
put
they weren't
down
going to
the
beat up
bottle.
on you?
Let me tell you a joke, Mama.
Well, sure. Yeah, for me, yes, definitely. I mean, comedy. It was about, yeah. Yes, I was. I was a funny kid, and I was fat, and I just, it was a defense mechanism and comedy, making people laugh, and then eventually it became a living, but yes, no, it did come. That was, my family was funny. I mean, we was dark Irish Catholic family, but everybody was pretty funny. Yeah.
Did it come naturally to you, Matthew?
Well, kind of. I always liked it. You know, a 2,000-Year-Old Man record when I was little, I wore out, you know.
Mel Brooks,
Yeah.
Carl Reiner,
Right.
classic.
And like, that's a good point. Like, my family was a really good audience, too. I mean, never mind if they caused me some pain that made me feel I had to make jokes, I don't know. But they were great laughers and very funny. My father was hilariously funny, as was my mom.
For Mr. Lane, what drew you to play Dalton Trumbo?
Oh, well, I mean, that material, those letters of his were extraordinary. I mean, just extraordinary. And just the fact that what it was about, especially...
I guess we should tell the audience.
Well, Dalton Trumbo was a famous screenwriter who was blacklisted in the 50s, so before Good Night and Good Luck, there was this. And this little piece that his son put together, and was just a series of letters and some narration where there was a character of his son who sort of narrated the piece, but essentially the main part of the show was with these incredible letters that he had written to people, and all through this period of the blacklisting, and then finally when he was given credit for Spartacus, Kirk Douglas said, he finally sort of kind of broke the blacklist, and he was given screen credit for that, and it's an amazing story, and especially in this political climate, it was just great to hear those words that people don't write that way anymore. Those kinds of letters. And then the intelligence and the wit and no matter what you think politically, it was extraordinary writing, and even though I thought, it was just those words demanded to be heard, and it was not really it wasn't really a play, but it was very powerful stuff, and I was very proud to have been a part of that.
That letter to his son explaining his actions was very moving.
You mean
explaining what he did.
there was a letter that he wrote to the parents of this guy who was killed, and then there was another letter. Oh yes, I mean about his I mean all of the letters. I mean it was a great